Well, we've been keeping an eye on, what the breakaway proponents have been doing. We've been meeting with individuals to talk about trying to educate more people in the community and trying to engage parents. In our last meeting, we also tried to connect it to a bigger picture, especially in terms of school performance scores and how this is a serious threat to any large public school district because of the drain on the resources. The school performance scores right now have been changed every year. There's no consistency, and appears to be very little research or data to support these measures that they're using to score schools. And so it's causing a lot of schools to be taken over, and it's apparently disproportionately affecting minority and low-income neighborhoods. In fact, it's my understanding that a number of people have gone to speak before the U.S. Education Department to ask them to put a moratorium on school takeovers because their argument is that they're depriving individuals of their civil rights in low-income and minority communities. And I think that that's going to be an issue for any large district because, of course, when a state does take over those schools, it creates such a terrible drain. The school system still has to maintain that building. It still has to pay for all that upkeep, and yet it can no longer send any students to that building. And very often the students that were in that building, most of them will flee back to the traditional public school system. They don't want to stay in the recovery school district. And so then we have the larger school district trying to provide schooling for students they no longer have the building capacity to house. On top of that, they have to continue. I think this time they're beginning to negotiate legacy costs with the recovery school district, but previous, I think, to East Baton Rouge Parish system, the school district also became responsible for the legacy cost of that recovery school district. So that becomes a drain on the public school system, which makes it even more difficult for them to fulfill their tasks. And then you have the whole chartering aspect. Charter schools aren't regulated in the same way, so they have all these ways that they can cut corners that the traditional public schools can't. A lot of it by selective admissions and the ability to, if not outright, remove students, they can at least deter them from coming back. And so those students find their way back into the traditional public school systems. And so that chartering process is putting such a strain, I think, on the traditional public schools and because they're targeting, it seems like they're targeting low-income communities in particular, my concern is that it's ultimately going to lead to the fact that the better off neighborhoods, middle income, upper income, are going to be looking at it going, there's this drain on our system and we have to do something about it. And it may be that their only recourse is to break away. Because if they don't, then ultimately their own school system is going to be forced into bankruptcy, or they're going to be declared a district in crisis and taken over entirely by the state. So there's a real threat to a traditional public school system because of these school performance scores and the state takeover system. And that's my real concern at this particular point in time. And I'm just beginning to sort of try to research and talk to people and figure out if there's what can be done.